All right, picking up where we left off in the last lesson, we have created our product cell.zib and our product cell.swift files. We are now ready to jump back into our products VC and set up everything that we need to actually show some products. So we have our table view outlet, and let's go ahead and set our delegate and data source before we forget. So I'm going to say table view.delegate is equal to self. And table view.data source is equal to self. That'll throw an error because we don't actually have those protocols yet. So right down here at the bottom, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to say extension of products VC, and we are going to implement the UI table view delegate and the UI table view data source. We should be pretty much experts at doing this by now. We've done this several times. So with our UI table view delegate and data source, we have two required methods, and that is number of rows in section, and we need to return a number here. Now let's go ahead and create a collection, an array that we are going to be using to hold our products. So I'm going to say var products is equal to, and that is going to be an array of product. And I'm just going to initialize that to an empty array, okay? So right now, this is just an empty array. We're going to manually create and insert a product into this array to test it, but eventually, once we get Firestore up and running, what we're going to do is fetch all of the data from our Firestore collection, our products collection, parse that all out into instances of our product model, and add those to our products array here, okay? So here for our number of rows in section, I'm going to say return products dot count. And then the next method that we need is cell for row at index path, and it returns a UI table view cell. That's the one we want. We're going to say if let cell is equal to table view dot dq reusable cell. And again, I'm going kind of quick through these parts because we've done this several times. If you haven't watched the Good Eatons section, you definitely should go back and watch through that because we go in depth into what all of these methods mean, and what DQ reusable cell, all of that stuff we go through in that section. So if you haven't done that, then you need to go back and watch that section first. All right. So here we have our table view reusable cell. We don't have an identifier yet. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's jump back to our product cell.zib file. And I'm going to select our product cell, come over here to our attributes inspector, and where it says reuse identifier, we are going to set that to product cell, okay? The same name as our class and the name of the zib itself, okay? So that'll just make things a little bit easier on us. We don't have to keep track of multiple identifiers and class names and all that kind of stuff, okay? So with that, I'm going to copy product cell, and let's go ahead and create a constant for that right away. Coming back down here to our constants file, we have identifiers, and we're going to add another one here, static let, and that's going to be product cell. I just pasted that, and product cell. And we're going to save that, jump back to products VC, and here for the identifier, we are going to say, cancel. We're going to say identifiers dot product cell for index path. We're going to cast that optionally as a product cell. If that is successful, if we have successfully DQ'd a reusable cell and cast it as a product cell, then what we can do is we can say cell.configure cell, and we will pass in the product for that line item. And we are going to say products at index path dot row, okay? And then we are going to return that cell. If for some reason we're not able to dequeue a reusable cell or cast it, we will return a generic UI table view cell. And then let's go ahead and set the height for our rows. I'm going to say height for row at, and we'll just go ahead and return 200 and save that. And that's just a number that I got by messing around with it and seeing what looks good. If you want, you can have a bigger or shorter cell. It's up to you. All right, let's save that. And I think we're ready to rock and roll. Oh, one thing that we need to do is we need to register our nib for our table view, just like our collection view. Our table view, since we didn't add that prototype cell right in Storyboard, right in the table view, it does not know what type of cells view to present. And so what we need to do is say table view.register, and we need to register, we're going to do a nib. So I'm going to select that right there. We're going to initialize a nib from the nib name and bundle. So the nib name, that's just the name of the file, product cell. And we have a constant for that here in identifiers.product cell. The bundle, you can say nil. And the cell reuse identifier, we have a constant for that as well. It's the same one, identifiers.product cell. All right, I'm going to save this. And then the last thing that we need to do is we need to add, we're going to create a manual product cell just to test this. And I'm going to say let product equal, we're going to initialize a new product.init, and we're going to give it a name. We have a nature category, but the picture of it is a shoe. So I'm just going to say landscape. We'll make up an ID, doesn't really matter. The category is nature. The price is, this is a double, let's just say $24.99. Product description, we'll say, what a lovely landscape. The image URL we'll come back to for the timestamp. Before we can use that, I'm going to import Firestore, come back to the timestamp, say timestamp, and initialize that. Stock, I'm just going to put 0 since we not going to be using that quite yet. And for the favorite, we are going to start out with it being false. All right, let's go grab a landscape. Just gonna grab a new tab here, go to Unsplash, and let's just do a quick search for landscape. And that one looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna right click and say copy image address, and then we'll jump back into Xcode, and right here for the image URL, we will just paste that right there. All right, now that we have our kind of a fake product, let's go ahead and add that to our products array. So I'm going to say products.append new element, and that new element is this product right here. Now let's go ahead and save this and run it. One thing that I did just realize is we don't have a way of getting over to this view controller. So let's go ahead and fix that. So what needs to happen, obviously, is when we are in our app, when we click on one of the categories, it takes us over to the products for that category. So let's go ahead and, you know what, just for testing, let's just go ahead and change the initial view controller that is going to load, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one, I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to kind of zoom out here. I'm going to control and drag from our navigation controller to our products VC and say root view controller. Okay, so basically all I'm doing is instead of loading this home VC first, we're gonna load this products VC first, okay? Let's see if that works. I'm gonna run it. All right. Wow. First time. How about that? All right. So it is working perfectly. We have our image that was loaded. We have our landscape title here. The price that's still static. Everything else is static, but our image and our title loaded up just like we want. All right, perfect. So that is getting our products UI all set up. The next step is to bring in Firestore, as well as make it so that we can segue correctly from categories to the products. I'm going to go ahead and change it back to how it should be. I'm going to delete this relationship root view controller to products VC, and then I'm going to reset this home VC as our root view controller. So I'm going to hold control and drag and say root view controller. And now it should be back to normal. All right, so in the next lessons, we're going to be working with Firestore and actually getting our database set up, understanding what Firestore is, and adding our first documents. All right, so hope you are very excited for that. I know I am, and I will see you in the next one.